A lot has changed since we compared the Bose with the Sony. It's no longer a bulge measuring contest. Has Sony's latest WF-1000 XM4 outdone the Bose QuietComfort EarBuds? Goedendag, we're DHRME. Discusses headphones, reviews most earbuds.
At launch, the Sony XM4 cost a little more than the Bose QuietComfort Buds, but these prices vary a lot and Sony tends to drop prices, so that number can make or break your purchase decision. But you know perfectly well that a higher price doesn't get you better quality earbuds. A higher subscriber count, on the other hand.
You're here to decide between Sony or Bose, so let us move on from the price and look at the other reasons.
You should pick the Sony WF-1000 XM4 for sound quality. Sound. In the audiophile community, Bose often stands for buy other sound equipment. In this particular case, we think that's harsh. Bose QuietComfort Buds are a good sounding pair of true wireless earbuds. We'd say even great in some areas. They're loud and their bass has a nicer slam while being less bloomy to my ears than the XM4. And they deliver a wide soundstage. But that's about where their advantages end. The Sony also leans to a bassy sound out of the box, but they take EQ very well. See our tips video for our favorite settings, especially in the treble, which makes the Bose's treble sound really thin. On the Sony, timbres sound a bit more realistic, and LDAC as well as DSEE give them a technical advantage that the Bose just can't match. So we'd give this round to the Sony WF-1000 XM4. But don't take our word for it, listen to the samples in this video and judge on your own.
You should pick the Bose QC earbuds if you want better ear tips. Yes, we agree the tentacle-looking tips on the Bose look intimidating, but when worn correctly, they not only fit securely but are also very comfortable. This is because the funnel-shaped tips sit at the entrance of your ear canal instead of inside it. The wider angle of the cone also ensures a very good passive seal. The Sony XM4 ear tips look quite promising with a foam material design, but in practice they didn't stay in our ears as well. And the downside of foam is the quick wear and tear. Everyone's ears are different and you can get good aftermarket tips to fix this problem. But for us, the tips weren't comfortable, so that's what we've got to say.
You should pick the Sony XM4 for an overall better design. Now look, we've made our fair share of bulge jokes in the past about the XM3, and Sony has done right by them by revamping the design. The Bose, on the other hand, are great if you live in a rough neighborhood and want to look like you're packing. The case as well as the buds of the Sony XM4 are a lot smaller, and compared to the 90s Bluetooth headset look of the Bose, they don't look shabby in your ears either. And if you're one of those types who uses only one earbud, then you'll have another reason to like the Sonys, because the Bose always needs the right earbud to be in use. So the XM4's case has already been a bit creaky in our time with it. And the thing about the XM4 case is that you have to open it with both hands. One-handed opening is possible, but it's a bit difficult. Whereas the Bose QuietComfort Buds, you can open it with one hand, but you do need a bit of a nail situation going on, otherwise it's a bit harder to do that. But it's possible. And while talking about the charging case, both sets take a different approach to the battery LED indicator. The Sony has a single light that shows the battery life left in the case by the change of color, and Bose has 5 separate LED lights, each representing about 20% of the remaining capacity. The latter is a lot more precise and useful for those colorblind people amongst us.
You should pick the Bose QuietComfort earbuds if you want to make phone calls. But before we go on, let the data speak for itself. Check out this video where we did a microphone quality test comparing these buds to a bunch of others. Now we hear you thinking, what if I'm a fuckman and I need more phone call features? Both buds offer the basics of answering or ending a call from the buds itself. Volume controls are also possible, but only on the Bose. And if you like the sound of your own voice, then Bose also gives you the self-voice feature. You can adjust how much of your own voice you can hear when you're on a phone call. Although neither the Bose or Sony support simultaneous multi-point connections, the Bose has a nifty trick up its sleeve. By pressing the Bluetooth button in the case, you can easily connect from a second device, and if that's not enough, you can toggle between paired devices in the app. And if that's not enough, it reads out the device name you're connected to. So if you're a fuckman who's in a polygamous relationship with multiple devices, then you've got another reason to pick the Bose.
You should pick the Sony XM4 if you want great battery life. Now, if you've been following us for a while, then you'll know that we're not one to be picky about battery life. We're not two to be picky about battery life. Anyway, the reason is simple. We don't use earbuds for many hours on end. So they go back into the charging case quite often and they'll be juiced back up when we need them again. But if you like the penetration to last, then the Sonys are your pick. They could technically last you a whole working day if you have the European work-life balance, of course. And just to give you an idea, the Sony's battery life lasts for around 30% longer compared to the Bose on the buds as well as from the charging case.
You should pick the Bose QuietComfort EarBuds if you want the best noise cancelling. When the Sony WF-1000 XM4 were released, the Bose QuietComfort EarBuds were already on the market for about 9 months. But we've said it before and we'll say it again. We've said it before and we'll say it again. The Bose QuietComfort EarBuds are still the reigning king of active noise cancelling compared to all the buds that we've tested so far. And why would we keep such tests to ourselves? You can find them all in this video linked above and down below. Here you can hear that the Bose just drown out the most amount of noise in all ranges from the low to the high end. But we can hear you thinking, where does that leave the Sony XM4? Well, not far behind. The Sonys are a solid contender in the noise cancelling space and offer far more customization options. You can adjust the amount of ambient noise you let in on a 20-point slider, focus on voices, or reduce wind noise. The question is whether you'll actually need those options and how often you're willing to go into the app to tweak them. In terms of transparency mode, which is how much of the ambient sounds get piped into these buds, we'd have to say that both the Bose and Sony are usable, although you hear more white noise on the Sony. For that reason, we'd pick the Bose. But at its core, the Bose QuietComfort EarBuds takes the cake for purely the amount of noise it can keep out of your ears.
Let's wrap this up by saying there's still several good reasons to go for the cheaper and older Bose QC earbuds, and many reasons for the newer Sony WF-1000 XM4, depending on what's important to you. Whichever tickles your fancy, do check out the affiliate links down below for the latest prices. And if you fancied our tickle, then tap that like button. It truly helps out with the algorithm.
You've been balancing two behemoth brands, and we've been DHRME.
Namaste.